Happy New Year, and welcome to the first GreenCourt Connections podcast of 2025. I'm your host, Jay Bland, Chief Growth Officer here at GreenCourt, and we're so happy to welcome Sarah Hurst, Georgia's 4D Director. Sarah, welcome.
Thank you, Jay. I'm happy to be here.
Well, we were just talking about all the snow everybody's getting a little bit north of us. You know, in Georgia, when we get an inch or two, the entire world shuts down. So I don't know if I'm hoping we get snow or not. How about you?
I definitely am. So we were with some family in Ohio for Christmas, and I really wanted to see snow, but unfortunately, all we got was rain during that time. So I'm always happy to see a few snowflakes. I'm actually originally from Canada, so I miss having snow around this time of the year. So
Okay. Yeah, I don't think my kids have ever seen snow, so I don't know if they would know what to do with it. So we'll have to explain what that is if it comes. The same, we may get a little bit on Friday, so we'll see.
Fingers crossed.
Well, we have an exciting year ahead in 2025. I know Georgia's working on a lot of projects, but we get to showcase Atlanta, Georgia to the NCA community because Leadership Symposium is coming to Atlanta under President Charles Smith's leadership. Let's talk a little bit about what folks should see or do while they're here in Atlanta in August.
Sure. So there's, of course, lots of great things to do in Atlanta. A few things we like to do. My husband and I like to go out and explore a lot of the great parks we have in Georgia. So a few in the metro area are Stone Mountain Park. If you are adventurous enough to climb to the top, it's definitely a great workout. Also, we like Sweetwater Creek State Park and Piedmont Park. They're both very beautiful. If you're not so much into the outdoors, we also have a great Georgia Aquarium, which is one of my favorite spots to take family and friends who come to visit us. And then we also have the Atlanta Braves. So if they happen to be in town that week, catching a baseball game at Truist Park is always a fun experience.
Yeah, I would echo all that. We do have some great parks. My mother-in-law lives in Kennesaw, so sometimes we go up to that area, which is beautiful. And the aquarium, yes, a must-see for everybody. Have you done the dolphin show there?
I have not. I have not done that.
It is unbelievable. I brought my kids to it, and every day for about 6 months straight, my son asked to go back. And I'm like, that's the thing with kids. If you do something awesome, they want to do it every day.
Of course.
I had to explain to him, no, that was very special. We can't do that every single day. But the dolphin show is great. And then, of course, the Atlanta Braves, world champions a few years ago. So Atlanta needed a championship in something. After that Super Bowl a few years ago, lost to the Patriots, we needed something to hold on to. So, yeah, we love our Braves. Well, you know, everybody I've talked to a few 4D directors on this podcast over the past year, and I'm yet to find one who said their dream job as a kid was to be a 4D director. So let me ask you, you may be the first. What was your dream job growing up?
Well, it was not to be the 4D director, but I know I had a few different dream jobs as a kid, but one of the first ones I can remember is that I wanted to be a teacher. So my grandmother, my mom's mom, she was a teacher. And then one of my aunts, my Aunt Maureen, she was also a teacher. So I guess you can say it runs in our family. My grandmother was an incredible lady, and so was my aunt. So I guess I just wanted to follow in their footsteps. And I also had a lot of really impactful teachers as I was growing up. So I wanted to be like them.
Yeah, you know, most people's answer to that question ends up being something around helping people, which is exactly what you're doing now, right? You're not teaching children, but you're definitely impacting families.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So, you know, as you've made your way through your career, I know that I have been impacted a lot by mentors along the way, and I'm very grateful for those mentors. If you wouldn't mind, tell us about some of the impactful mentors you've had along the way.
Sure. So certainly one that stands out is our Federal Office of Child Support Services Commissioner Gray. I was very fortunate to work directly under her leadership when I was a deputy director. So for a few years in that role during the time that she was Georgia's child support director. So as anyone who has met her knows, she is an extraordinary leader, and she's always willing to share her knowledge and her experiences with her team. She still continues to inspire me while she's serving at the national level, and I just love to see how she continues to lead with passion.
Amen. The child support community is so lucky to have had her. I can't wait to see,
Absolutely.
what she continues to do. Her impact in Washington has been wonderful. The program has evolved a lot under her, and she is so much fun to listen to when she's on that stage.
She is. She's an amazing speaker. I hope to be like her one day, but I have a long ways to go.
We all do. She sets the bar very high. I mean, she could talk about something that was completely boring and somehow make it fun.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, talking about becoming the 4D director, which you are today, there were a lot of steps between childhood and then. So, if you don't mind, walk us through kind of how you got started in the child support program and how that evolved.
Sure. So while I was in school at the University of Georgia, I had to complete an internship as part of my criminal justice program. So I completed an internship with the Department of Juvenile Justice. And through that internship, I gained case management experience. And it was actually my supervisor at the time who encouraged me to look for some jobs with Georgia's child support program. She thought it might be a good fit for me based on having worked with me for a while. So I looked into the positions that were available, applied, and ultimately was selected to start with the program as an agent in our Macon office back in 2006. So from there, I held a variety of roles at the local office level, the regional level, as well as the state office for the next 18 years. And then I started in my current role just over a year ago in January of 2024.
So, I love that journey because you've actually done the work, right?
Yep. I mean, it afforded me the opportunity to learn about so many different parts of our program. It's such a complex program. So I'm really thankful that I had the opportunity to serve in so many different roles throughout. I didn't do everything, but I did quite a lot of different roles within the program.
Absolutely. And you mentioned University of Georgia, so as an Auburn fan, this is my chance to dig y'all that loss to Notre Dame. How did that look?
Oh, very disappointing, very disappointing. But we were, it was tough there at the end. We lost our quarterback. We had a new quarterback coming in who I thought did an excellent job. I mean, on such a big stage. But man, that was a tough loss. So
Y'all have had such a great last 6, 7 years.
yeah.
You will get as a struggling Auburn fan, you will get no sympathy from me.
Well, we have several close friends who are also Auburn fans, so we kind of, we cheer with them. I know y'all have had some rough times here, but I just love watching college football. It's just so entertaining to me. I could watch any teams play. Of course, I love to watch the Dogs, but yeah, it's great.
What do you think about the new playoff format?
You know, I think I need some more time to kind of digest. I think it's going to take me like a couple of seasons to really determine how I feel about it. I mean, we were in the playoffs, so that always gives a little
Right.
bit more of a positive
Right.
feeling to it. But yeah, I think time will tell. It was kind of interesting though, the outcomes for all the teams that had buys. They all lost. So
Right.
kind of raises some questions.
Yeah, does the time off actually help a college team? And, I think hosting a home playoff game is such an advantage to build some momentum. I would like to see them get rid of the automatic seeds. I'd also like to see them get rid of the bye. Just do 8 teams. Do it like the college basketball tournament where you seed them top to bottom and you go play. I mean, it just seems like a lot of games, and it
Yeah.
seems like a big gap between the talent, especially in that first round.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's definitely some room for improvement. So I'm still formulating my opinion, but
What is I was most of the games were boring, and then I watched Arizona State actually put on a show against Texas. That was my favorite game so far to watch.
very good.
Okay, back to child support. We could talk about college football all day. So let's talk about over the next 10 years for the child support program. So it's 2025. So between now and 2035, what kind of changes would you like to see in the program? What's on your wish list?
So Specifically for our Georgia program, system modernization is definitely high on our list. Our goal is to develop a child support system that provides an improved structure for DCSS employees so that we can deliver high quality assistance more efficiently to our customers. Our new system will continue our agency's efforts to ensure that children and families receive the valuable services that are available to them through DCSS. And then another item on our list is enhanced engagement with customers. We want to ensure that we are receiving and incorporating feedback from those with lived experiences with our program.
Yeah, that's going to be, you've got a lot on your plate. I know modernization is a lot.
Yes.
It starts well before it actually starts. I mean, y'all been working on it
Right.
for a while. So good luck with that. I know that
Thank you.
it's a lot to handle, but you'll do great. And then your point about customer service. I mean, child support is customer service, right? I mean, that's what you're doing. You have been called to serve those families and those children, and providing good customer service is what attracts people to trust the program, right?
Right. Absolutely. It's very important. And, if any of us needed those services, we would want to be treated with professionalism and respect and really know that our feedback is taken into consideration. So, we want our customers to have that experience when they walk in our door.
Amen. Well, let's talk about challenges. So we've all had them. We don't always like to talk about them, but we always learn from them. So my question to you is, what has been the biggest challenge of your career, and what did you learn from that challenge?
Well, I don't know if this is the biggest one, but certainly one of the challenges I faced about 6 years ago was when I stepped into a deputy director role with our program. And it was over an area that was largely unfamiliar to me. I started overseeing our contracts, our grants, and our invoices, among other areas. And I had very little exposure to these areas prior to stepping into this role. So, one thing I learned was that these areas have a huge impact on the work that we do as a division. And even though I hadn't had much interaction with these processes during my time in other roles with DCSS, it was certainly a great opportunity for me to learn more about these areas and to make new connections with members of our business operations and contracts and grants units. And another thing the opportunity did for me, it allowed me to build relationships with employees that we interact with in other areas of the department, as well as vendors who we work with through these different services. So that was really great, being able to build those relationships with those who serve as our partners for these different program areas.
Yeah, so it was a challenge because it was new and uncomfortable, right? Um,
Right.
I think one thing I talk about a lot in our company and on this podcast and in some other areas is, I think people who learn how to be comfortable being uncomfortable, those are the ones that really rise to the top when it comes to leadership. So kudos to you for accepting a challenge, going outside of your comfort zone, and making it a learning experience.
Thanks. Well, I enjoyed that role. There was a lot for me to learn, but I truly enjoyed it, and I just got to see more of our team members who do such an excellent job at the work that they're responsible for.
So let's switch to successes. And overcoming a challenge can be a success, but let's talk about something different here. And I realize it's all a team effort. I mean, everything that I do is a team effort, everything that you do is a team effort. But when you think of some of the biggest successes you've had in your career, what comes to mind, and what did you learn from that success?
So, really, one of the things I feel proud about and feel is a success is seeing those that I have worked with over the years continue to grow and develop, seeing them take on additional responsibilities, take on promotional opportunities, continue to grow their skills and abilities. Just even recently here, we had a conference in October, and just hearing from some of our employees who served as subject matter experts and presenters, it really just warmed my heart to see them, just stand up and speak about things that they've experienced or been through, just sharing their knowledge with others. That just makes me feel so proud. Not necessarily because I had a hand in them becoming that subject matter expert, but just working alongside such a great group of individuals who are willing to share, what they've learned to help, to better help others. So that really just warmed my heart to see so many of our employees step up. And then another thing I'm really proud of is the work that our team did with our feasibility study and our readiness activities in preparation of our system modernization project. So both our feasibility study and our readiness activities involved a lot of hard work and many long days and months, but both turned out to be really successful initiatives. And I just enjoyed seeing a lot of our talented team members participate in both initiatives and expand their knowledge and skills.
Amen. I mean, finding success through the success of others is such a key part of leadership development. And I can relate to that. When you go from doer to leader, you have to have a change in mindset. And you were a doer, and now you're a leader. And being able to realize success through the success of people that you've helped influence, I agree with you. That's the most rewarding part of leadership. And yeah, that feasibility study and all that. I mean, nobody gets awards for those, and no one talks about them as much as they should. But it is such a difficult job, and it's such an important part of that modernization process.
Absolutely. And it's so nice, we're not in it alone. There's other states that, went before us, so we definitely appreciate all the partnership from other state programs sharing, what they've learned with us. That really helped us along the way as well.
All right, so question for you. How do you see child support and the entire child support program fitting into the greater framework of the social safety net?
So the child support program is one of the most important safety nets for families. A family who receives child support may not have a need to receive public assistance where they might have otherwise if the child support was not being received. Also, with the focus on serving the whole family, we are not just in the business of enforcing orders and collecting payments, though that is certainly a big part of our processes and our services that we provide. We are truly trying to make a difference in families' lives by assisting non-custodial parents, whether they are mothers or fathers, to remove barriers that may be impacting their ability to receive education, training, and job skills that they need to gain employment, enhance their career opportunities, and increase their self-sufficiency. So this in turn should lead to greater opportunities for stable employment and consistent payments for the families that we serve, which of course is our overall goal.
Yeah, I've had this conversation a lot with people, and I've heard people have the conversation around enforcement and whole family approach. And unfortunately, a lot of the times people talk about those like it's one versus the other. But I love the way you put that answer. It's really both. You can have
Right.
both enforcement when it's appropriate and whole family approach when it's appropriate. And blending both together, you get the best of both worlds.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're very fortunate in Georgia to have some amazing outreach programs. So for parents that do need some assistance with removing some barriers, we have our fatherhood program as well as our parental accountability court program. And so those are great options we have for parents that are interested in those services. That being said, we certainly encounter some parents who may not be interested in those outreach programs. And so we do have a number of enforcement tools that are available to us to assist when needed.
Yeah, you mentioned the fatherhood program. We were having a meeting internally at GreenCourt a few months ago, and Cindy Moss, who's a former Georgia 4D director, is on our team. And I was talking about, hey, this new idea behind these new fatherhood programs. She goes, stop right there. Georgia has had one for decades, so it's not a new idea. And that's right, isn't it? I mean, Georgia was kind of a pioneer when it comes to those fatherhood programs.
Absolutely. Yes. Our program started in the late 90s, and it is a statewide program available to assist parents who are ordered to pay support. So, yes, it has certainly been around for quite some time, and we're very thankful to have a great team who has really expanded the program throughout the years and expanded the partnerships with the program. So, we're very fortunate.
Yeah, a lot of people are pitching it like this new idea, but shout out to Georgia, our home state. We've been doing that for a while. We talked about modernization a little bit, and I imagine this question will dive into that a little deeper, but what projects are currently underway at DCSS that will enhance the program overall?
Well, certainly the big project we are working on is system modernization, and our division is modernizing our system so that we can incorporate national best practices that utilize modern technology, automation, and business intelligence. And these enhancements are really designed to meet the ongoing needs of our child support program while also establishing flexibility for system improvements as they are needed in the future. As I mentioned before, our team has really put a lot of effort into the planning of our project so that we can reduce risks and set our team up for success. So we've been really fortunate to work with amazing child support peers across the nation. As I mentioned before, they've been so willing to share their knowledge and lessons learned from their own projects, whether they've already completed their project and been certified, or if they're going through it right now. They've all been incredibly helpful and willing to share. So this has been incredibly beneficial to us as we have incorporated what they have learned into the planning of our project.
Yeah, it's funny, these modernization projects come in waves, it seems like, across the country. And it does feel like we're in a wave. There are quite a few states gearing up for modernization. There are quite a few who have picked a vendor and are doing it right now. And you kind of see a different flavor, a bunch of different flavors across the country. There's the refactoring, there's a new build, there's actual SaaS systems out there now that people are looking at. So, yeah, it makes sense that you get to lean on other folks in the child support community from other states who have kind of been through that already.
Yes, and it's been incredibly helpful. They've been able to share some lessons learned that, we certainly have incorporated into our planning efforts. And so just very thankful for our child support community and how helpful they've been throughout this process.
So this is the last question, and it's also my favorite because I never really thought about this a lot for myself. And usually when I ask it, people are like, I've never thought about that. But let's see if you've thought about it. When it's all said and done and you retire from child support, what do you want your legacy to be to those of us who knew you and watched you work in child support?
So that's a great question. And to answer it, I kind of want to go back to when I started with child support. So as an agent, my goal with each customer interaction was for the customer to leave my office in a better place than when they entered. So that didn't always mean that I was able to resolve their issue. It could be that I was able to answer the questions they had, or I might have been able to provide them with a resource to address a barrier they were facing. But I would say, since that time in the different positions I've held, my goal has been to leave a positive impact on those I work with and to implement improvements in our processes along the way. So I think that's what I would like to be known for. And then, of course, as I've mentioned a couple of times, one of my big goals is, of course, to see our system modernization project through to the end, to include a successful implementation and federal certification, and to leave the next generation of child support employees with a modern, flexible case management system that will enhance the work they do each day, and most importantly, ultimately result in enhanced outcomes for the families that we serve.
Well, it is an exciting time for Georgia child support, and you've got a lot on your plate. And as a fellow Georgian, I want to thank you for the work that you do for our communities here in Georgia. And as your friend, I want to thank you for joining this podcast today. You were an awesome guest. Thank you.
Well, absolutely. I was happy to be here. Thank you so much.